Everybody, Commissioner Ace Coach 704 here for Tuesday night PEL Live. Um, I want to wish everybody Happy New Year. I know we've done a lot of stuff the past few days in terms of the award show, broadcast, draft grades, all of that stuff. So I'm going to kind of go over all of that tonight, and then we'll kind of get into, some things that we've seen so far early in this season. If you're tuning in or watching it on the replay, we're in year 4, week 2, so it's very early. But we have some things that have been happening that we need to catch up on, and some people that have done well in those early games, and we're kind of going to go through all of that stuff tonight. So first off, before we jump into all the news and stuff, let's kind of recap the games so far that have been played this season, and it will be real brief. We won't go into too much detail on this. So week 1, of course, kicked off the season. We had the Chargers defeating the Jets 31-24 in a very tight contested game. The Jets are a tough opponent. I'll get to my game that I played with him just a few minutes ago here shortly in week 2. But Deontay manages to pull it out, and I gave Deontay a special shout out on the Owners Award show. I told him he had 2 strikes against him, reneging on a trade that we had, number 1. And then number 2, stealing my young practice squad corner that I was going to sign. So it's all good, though. It's all good. All right, so the next one, we had a forced win for the Buccaneers, 31-28 over the Vikings. The Vikings expressed frustration over that forced win and decided to leave. We will have a new Vikings owner, though, tonight or tomorrow, depending on when they accept the invite, and I'll talk more about that here in a minute as well. Texans-Bengals, that was a real close game. The Bengals pulled it out 21-20. We know the Bengals are rebuilding, but I told you this user is pretty good. So he made the best of that roster right there against a Houston team that is playing better, but unfortunately couldn't pull it out in week 1. This was a force, but the Titans were up big on the Jaguars, and the force really kind of took it to the Jags 49-0, but they had a disconnect, and the Titans were up pretty good in that one. So that's a good showing for Cody, and we'll get into week 2. He's off to a really good start so far this year. And then my game, the Patriots, finally got over the hump and won 35-21. I got in the hole that game 14-0. We had a BS kick return, just put it mildly. And then I had a misread on a play that we had on offense, and then he was up 14-0 real quick. And we played decently the rest of the game, but, it was a tough hole to dig out of. Kelly II put up some big numbers throwing the ball, but, he's blitz or die, and, sometimes, he hit big plays, and sometimes he gets home, so. But it was a good win for the Patriots, and week 2 they got a big matchup with the Dolphins. They hadn't played yet. Steelers-Ravens, I was surprised at the margin of this game. I thought this game was going to be a little closer, but we know Scooby's a really good user for the Steelers, and he knocked off the Ravens 34-15, but, beware, once that guy gets his roster right, he's going to be really good. He's actually 15-0 in my other league, so I don't doubt that he's going to do better as time comes on. Really good game in Green Bay. The Bears, the revamped Bears with those 2 first-round picks, and that offense really got going up to 35, but defensively they still got some holes. And we know the Packers with Rodgers really likes to throw that football. They won at 40-35 in the shootout in week 1. So that's a good win for the Packers in that division, which is now kind of a little bit open with the new Vikings owner coming in. We had 2 forces here. Chiefs over the Raiders 30-3, and then the Giants over the Panthers 38-28. Philly over the Rams, close game, 13-0. The Rams played a little bit better, especially on defense, but they couldn't get that offense going. As we all know how Shoebox is with those using linebackers. I'm sure Flanagan had a nice pick or 2 in that one as well. But good job for the Rams. That's showing progress right there. Cowboys over the Cardinals. This was a bit of a surprise, 28-11. Gabe had been busy with school and everything, and now he's got time to focus on Madden, which I always say is more important. But he managed to get that done. And the Cardinals are retooling a little bit on offense. I think it's going to take a little time for that offense to get in gear, but once it does, they're going to be just fine. They were a playoff team last year. Skins and Seahawks. Seahawks managed to pull that out 17-7 with Cam Newton on his fourth team. Ridiculous. But anyways, they were managed to pull that game out. Still leaning on those vets on defense, and they did a good job in getting the win there. Browns over the Colts, big. I was surprised at the margin here, 38-10. Both of these guys are around the same record every year. The Colts have been 10-6 the last 2 years and out of the playoffs. And this good game could go a long way in determining those final wild card spots in the AFC for sure. So good job for the doo-doo Browns. And I think the rookie quarterback, Porcher, started in that one and obviously played well. Important matchup in the NFC South as the Falcons got off to a good start over the Saints, 30-20. Once again, keep per Jeff in your prayers as he tries to rebuild from that BS that happened while he was on vacation at his house. We're all praying for you. And, the Saints played well, but they couldn't pull that one out. The Falcons had a lot of talent, as you guys know. The Dolphins big over the Broncos, 31-10. That offense from Denver, man, it's tough, when you got a quarterback and you're trying to believe in Paxton Lynch, but I still think you should have kept Vince, and I'm going to hang on to that for a while. But Miami, of course, is a good team, and I'm sure they're playing with anger after being snubbed out of the playoffs last year. And in a great week 1 matchup, that was rightfully the season kickoff. The 49ers defeated the Lions 34-31, and that's pretty good justice for what happened last year in the playoffs. And that's a big win on the road for San Francisco, and that could go a long way in determining who's the number 1 seed overall in the NFC. All right, let's jump to the week 2 games that have been played. Steelers-Texans, close game. Houston they stayed in it, but they couldn't pull it off. Steelers go to 2-0, 31-21 on the road in Houston. Really good game here. Cleveland and Jacksonville, 2 perennial playoff teams in the AFC. And then the Browns pulled that off on the road, 33-30. That's another really good win for the doo-doo Browns. We got the Force over the Jets. We were tied 14 with about 3.5 minutes left in the fourth, and then Ragjob had a disconnect on his end. He had a blue screen, so we played a quarter, and then we came back and won that quarter 14-0. So that's how we got the Force in Brooklyn for that one. Defense played well in spots, especially in the red zone. Offensively, we moved the ball up and down the field, but we threw 2 interceptions in the red zone that hurt in the first game. And Ragjob managed to throw the ball, pretty well. I had to get on a little bit about the rollouts, but it's all good. Broncos bounced back from that week 1 loss and beat the Raiders 24-6. That's a good job there, getting the divisional win in the AFC West, and it pushes the Broncos to 1-1 on the season. Important NFC East matchup, and the Giants told y'all that he was wanting to claim that division, and a big win over the Eagles right there, 31-27. That's going to weigh a lot in that divisional race going down the line. The Giants are now 2-0 on the season. Very important win there for them, and that's on the road in Philly. 49ers defeated the Rams 24-6, and there was a little commentary on this game. The Rams were talking about the way the 49ers defensive line just shredded them, and I think he had about 6 sacks in that one. And that goes a long way into that victory right there for San Francisco, now 2-0 on the season. Chargers 19, Chiefs 13 in the AFC West rivalry that usually determines that division. Another close game, but Chiefs just can't get over the hump over those Chargers. I think Deontay's won 4 or 5 in a row over them now. And they sit there at 2-0 in a good spot, and that's an important win coming down the stretch later on this year for sure. Falcons go to 2-0, 37-20 over those Bears. Still, that Chicago defense still needs a little bit of work. And we know Jeff likes that deep ball, and he probably hit a couple of them to get up to 37 points in that game. Bears at 0-2, but being competitive and playing better. Let's not get another 0-16, though. I think he's going to win some this year. There's too many threats on offense. Seahawks go to 2-0, 23-13 victory over the Cowboys. That old defense once again hanging in there, playing salty, only giving up 13 points to the Cowboys, who had a big win on the road week 1 against the Cardinals. Cowboys go to 1-1. Seahawks are now 2-0, tied with the 49ers on top of the NFC West. Another big win for the Titans, 24-3 over the Colts. That's a very impressive win. Titans off to a 2-0 start, and both of those wins are over AFC South divisional opponents, and that goes a long way in determining who's going to win that division. And I just told him, I said, man, that's your division this year. And he beat, in my opinion, the two best teams in that division in the first 2 weeks. So, big game next week with the Titans against the Steelers, both 2-0 on the season. It's probably week 3 game of the week if I had the chance to pick it. But we know Daddy Leagues will probably pick some sorry game. And in the last game played so far this week, the Lions defeated the Buccaneers 56-17. And I know Levi in predictions said that this one could get ugly, and he called it pretty accurately. There's been some things I need to look at in that game that I was alerted to, so I'll be reviewing that here at some point before we advance to week 3. But hopefully everything will turn out all right. Okay, so that's the recap of those games, and I was going to do something on the computer and look up the blogs, but my computer just gave me a blue screen, which is great. So we're going to jump to transactions, and we'll review the one trade that I saw so far. And this actually happened in the preseason. So this trade was Lee Spivey, who was a quick development tight end who was drafted by the Chiefs, was traded to the Jets along with middle linebacker Brian Kershaw for Jordan Leggett, who's a pretty good tight end himself, and then 2 draft picks, a 3 and a 4. My analysis, Spivey with quick development, he's only 21 years old. That's a good get, but I thought Leggett was already pretty good, and he was pretty young. He was only like 25. He may have been in the contract year. That might have been the motivation for the Jets to move him. The Jets actually commented that they liked this middle linebacker in the chat, and I think this was on the draft show actually, and then they managed to get a deal done after the draft was over. The 2 picks there, it's fine, especially if he's in a contract year. I think that helps because Spivey's got his rookie contract for 4 years on the cheap value, and he's going to grow really fast. So I think it was a fair deal for both sides. Both of these guys have used 1 trade up. Just as a reminder, the trade rules: 2 in the regular season, 1 in the off season. And then during the draft, of course, the trades do not count towards the rule. So both of these guys have 1 trade left to use on the season so far. Or left in the season, I'm sorry. Trade deadline is week 8, so keep that in mind when you're making your moves. Alright, so my computer is back on, and as that's pulling up, let's take a look at some very early stat leaders. Let's look at players of the week. We only got 1 week, but I'll talk a little bit about these guys since they did so well. Ray Beisel, Vikings quarterback. We all know he's a very, very talented player, fast, mobile guy that can throw the ball pretty well. You see his stats there: 20 of 32, 49, 3 TDs, 6 carries for 23 yards and a rushing TD. Was good enough to get the NFC Player of the Week. And then the AFC Player of the Week was Le'Veon Bell. No surprise there. 24 carries for 163, 3 touchdowns, and then 2 receptions for 45 yards. Scooby's really good at using him, and he's going to run him till the cows come home, and rightfully so. Defensively, Shoebox and the Eagles had Mr. Eugene, defensive end, at 7 tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble. Good enough for Player of the Week in the NFC on defense. And then AFC Defensive Player of the Week, Jalen Collins. 2 tackles and 3 interceptions. Wow. He played the Colts week 1. Come on, man. Throw it to the other side. Don't throw it to Collins anymore. Jeez. All right. Good job to those guys, and congratulations on all that. All right. So my computer will be up shortly, and then we'll kind of go through some of the other things. Just as a reminder, practice squads are open, so if you hadn't stolen anyone yet, you're behind the game. Make sure you get on and do that. Let's scroll through some news stories and see what's going on real fast while my computer is trying to get going here. Like I said, let's talk about the Vikings. So we got a recommendation, and about how I operate. I typically don't give people second chances, just because in the past I've done it, and people tend to kind of follow a trend, and that trend is to continuously behave in a certain manner. But in this instance, with the individual that's going to be invited back, I slept on it, and then I had a lot of people tell me that that was not indicative of how this person is. So what I'm doing is I'm going to trust you guys on this, and he'll be the new Vikings guy. The big thing that I always say about the league is, I'm not bigger than the league. So if the majority of the people say that we should do a certain thing, that's what we're going to do. So that's what we're doing in this case. And then we had one other guy that's interested, and I, explained to him that, the next opening he'd be invited in. So my whole philosophy is, as long as you contribute to the league, I see you as a value to the league, or we all do. If you don't contribute to the league, when things come up and it's a 50-50 situation, then, we're going to lean towards, not doing what you want to do. And I'm just being real on that. If you show that you're dedicated, then, you deserve a break. And that's what we've done with a lot of situations. And with the old Vikings, he complained about a forced win, and, before I had a chance to explain it, he left the chat. So all I told him was, I wish you the best. I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to explain myself. And, we'll move on. So, and to be honest with you, he didn't contribute much to the league. He didn't write an article. He was missing games, and all that went, into the decision. Now, if I think you're valuable, I'm going to lobby with you. I'm going to reason with you, and, hopefully you'll, give us another chance if there's a discrepancy or issue or whatever. But if you're not, then hey, I wish you the best, and there's other leagues out there. I think we do a pretty good job. We're not the greatest, but I think we're pretty good. We're top 20 on Daddy League, so that counts for something, I guess. All right, so I'm off my soapbox there. All right, so let's jump into let's do draft grades, because I didn't get a lot of response on the draft grades, and I don't think everyone saw it because we were in the middle of doing so many other things that I don't think everyone saw the draft grade they got. And I'm going to kind of scroll through a little bit because I got to dig up, because y'all been doing a good job on blogs so far, which we'll talk about here in a second. But the draft grades this year I didn't rate any CPU drafts, because I don't think that's right. But the ones I did grade, here we go. The Bears, I gave an A+. I thought their first 3 picks were instant starters, and we all know about the receiver that he took at number 1, George Smith. He took great physical talent, as you should, high in the draft. He also had a corner, I think was 96 speed or 94 speed, something like that. The Bengals, I gave a C+. They traded out to number 2 overall. They found an offensive lineman to start, but the rest of their draft really wasn't special. Brooklyn Bills was a B. We had limited picks, but we did okay job. The corner has done a really good job so far. But we didn't get any superstar guys, and Al Bundy was a little disappointed in that. We got to do a little better next time. We did get the one quick guy. Broncos, I gave an A. They found both a star and a quick development player, and they both played corner, and that was a big need for them because their corners are getting older. And I thought he did a good job overall. Cleveland Browns got an A+. Only team to find 2 star development players. What a surprise. And, of course, he develops his draft picks really well up in Cleveland. The Buccaneers, I gave a B-. I think they found 2 or 3 possible new starters at offensive line, which they really needed. So I'm glad he listened to the advice and won't give up 83 sacks this year, hopefully. The Arizona Cardinals, I gave a C. They got the tight end Rose, who was a decent player, but the rest of their class really wasn't that special. The LA Chargers got a B, star development center, and they got some speed at wide receiver. Chiefs got a B, just a B. They traded up to number 2, but the guy they picked at number 2, I don't think was a number 2 overall guy. He could be good, but I don't think that was a guy I would have taken at number 2. There were some other guys that were really good that came off the board after him. And plus they already have a ton of wide receivers on the track team, so I don't know if the community track team needed a fourth leg on the relay or what, but anyway. And then the tight end they drafted, we talked about earlier, he's already been traded to New York. Colts got a C-. He wasn't happy with his first pick, and then the rest of the draft really wasn't that great. Eagles got a B-. They took a lot of speed. They're going to try to run a speed offense, apparently. Falcons with a C-. But, Jeff's been distracted, so we don't hold that against them. He only made one pick. 49ers got a B, good quarterback who's now superstar development with the development upgrade they got from last year. They also got a tight end they needed, and I think the quarterback's undeveloped. You mentioned there might be a controversy up in San Francisco, but nah, you can stay with Beathard. You don't need to play a rookie when you're up as good as they are right now. Jets got a B. They drafted a star offensive lineman who's going to be an immediate starter. But the rest of their picks were depth, and he said the same thing in his blog that he did a good job on as well. Oakland Raiders had a C. They picked number 9. They picked a possession receiver at number 9. He can really catch the ball, but that's all they got in their class. The rest of it wasn't that great. LA Rams got a B+. They got a really good pick with that free safety. He was 6'4", star development with 93 speed, I believe. Just an awesome pick. And then he got some additional needs later on in the draft. Baltimore Ravens got a B. They got physical talent on their picks. They picked a 97 speed corner, which is, I don't think we've seen one of those here in the PEL, so not naturally anyway. You may save up your XP and get someone there, but that was pretty awesome. The Saints got a B-. Their first pick was a pretty good defensive end, but the rest are just depth purposes. Seahawks, same thing, B-. Best pick was a strong safety who came out 78 overall with good skills and physical traits, but the rest was just pretty much depth. In the last grade, we got Tennessee Titans was a B. Best defensive tackle in the draft with that first pick. I thought he was really good. And the rest of the draft was just kind of filling up some depth. And then below that, on the blog, that listed the star and quick development players from that draft. I'll name off the star guys. Ellis Craig, strong safety for the Browns, one of their star players. Buck Fragel, center for the Chargers. Kent Biggers, the corner for Denver. Gerald Robinson, CPU pick for Green Bay, but he was star development. We knew he was going to be pretty good with his storyline. Russell Trainers, the guard for the Jets, that star development. This name, Elusius Al-Jabbar, Kareem Al-Jabbar's illegitimate son for the Dolphins, star development D tackle. Tarek Porcher, the Cleveland Browns star development quarterback, who was a 5th round projection, of course, took it in the 1st, as usual. Nate Wade is the name of that LA Rams free safety, 6'4", 93 speed. What's his acceleration? I'm trying to see it here. 91 acceleration at 6'4". That's unbelievable. Trey Harline, Steelers CPU pick center, star development, like they need more help in damn Pittsburgh or whatever. Alright, so those are the draft grades. It's not on the homepage, but if you go to Daddy Leagues and then click on blog, scroll down a little bit, you'll see it right there. And then a few other guys did some nice blogs that have done a really good job. We'll talk about on storylines. I'd like to thank Levi for the return of sweating predictions. Awesome job he does. Hopefully he'll continue to do it on a consistent basis. He says he will, but his predictions are up on the site if you hadn't seen them. Great job on those. Hopefully we'll see those every week. And then we did the Owners Award show. Did that last night and posted in the middle of the night because I still hadn't reset my router, so things are going too slow. I've got the list awards. I don't have it on the blog, but just check that out. It's a fun thing we do every year if you're new. We kind of just give everybody an award because everyone does a good job in their own special way, as you see if you watch the Owners Award show. All right, so real quick look at the divisions, and then we'll wrap it up. And I know it's real early, but what the hell. And just kind of give my thoughts on who's going to win each division. AFC North, between the Steelers and the Browns, I believe. That Ravens game I thought would be closer. I still think he's going to be a threat once he gets his stuff together, but you can see those two I think are really going to challenge for the division once again. These two are really good players in my other league. Like I said, he's undefeated and he's like 13-2. So they're going to be tough, and they like competition. So this could end up being the toughest division in the league before things are settled in Madden 18. All right, AFC South. Right now, Cody is dominating this division. He's only given up 3 points all year. Damn. And then the other three are 0-2, and they're going to have to get it together because, like I said, the Titans were almost there. That was his award, and this might be the year they get there. And win that division and get into the playoffs. AFC East, we're 1-1 now to be a force over the Jets. And then the Dolphins and Patriots are playing this week. So only one team in this division will be 2-0 unless these guys tie, which would be awesome. But anyways, I think this division is wide open. Jeff, the Patriots, if he can play really well, and this could be a wide open division, man. It really could. AFC West between the Chiefs and the Chargers. I think the Broncos will do better this year. They ended last year on a good run, but still right now between these two, Chiefs with all that damn speed and the ability they have on defense, it makes them really tough for the Broncos, I think, to overtake them right now. Right now, Deontay's leading the division with that big win over the Chiefs, and then Jerome and the Raiders, they just got to get better, man. I think they got to get more talent on that team overall and build up that offensive line a little more to try to get, into the race here. NFC North, right now the Lions at 1-1. That won't last for much longer. But the Packers got to take advantage. They got to win this week to get to 2-0 and try to keep the Lions down as long as they can to have a chance here. New Vikings owner, we'll see how that works out. Then the Bears are much improved. Even though they're 0-2, they're scoring points, which always makes you dangerous, but they got to improve a bit on that defense. 77 points in 2 games isn't going to cut it in this division. NFC South, Falcons right now at 2-0. This division is always wide open. Blake in there at 1-1. He'll bounce back from that tough loss last game to the Lions. Then the Panthers and Saints at 0-1. The Saints played the Falcons. Hadn't seen the Panthers play a game yet. There was a force week 1, so we'll see how he is. He said he was a notch below elite, so we will see very quickly if that's truly the case. NFC East, big story. The Giants at 2-0 are on a mission to reclaim it. Had a big win over the Eagles at 1-1. Cowboys are now playing full time at 1-1. They're much improved. Then the Redskins at 0-1. We'll see, how that comes out. I hadn't seen enough of him to play to know if he can challenge these two, especially, to try to get to the upper echelon of the division, but time will tell. He also has a friend that wants to join. He'll be the next one in the league whenever someone else leaves. Hopefully, it's not for a while, but things happen in life, so, we'll adjust as we need to. All right, and finally, the NFC West. Seahawks 49ers are 2-0 right now. Right now, it's a 2-team race. Of course, I think the Cardinals are still in it. They just got to get offense settled, and they'll be good to go. Rams at 0-2. Obviously, you can see those first 2 games, 6 points on offense. Got to get that offense going somehow, and it's a tough division to do it in. I appreciate you hanging around and giving it one more shot. This might be his last season. Life's getting in the way a little bit for him, but hopefully he'll be able to hang in there even longer than that. And continue to challenge in a very, very tough division in the NFC West. All right, guys. So that puts us at around 30 minutes. And that's pretty much going to be the show tonight. I appreciate you guys watching. We had 4 or 5 people all night watching. I appreciate that. Cody, I see your comment on there. Collins was because of Force week 1. That is right. I forgot you got that Force. But he did well on the Force for you. So I remember you said he didn't get much XP for that. So I guess that is the justice in that. But anyways, remember, advances tomorrow. Once all games settled, we will advance to week 3. You guys are doing an awesome job. Keep doing the great job that you're doing. I do want to say welcome to the Vikings owner. Cody is handling getting his invite and getting him settled on everything in the league. Of course, once again, if you have issues, just shoot me a DM. One of the big things that I always say is we don't want to have a bunch of stupid drama in the chat. We that's not how we operate in the PEL. Talk one-on-one like men if you got an issue, and then just we'll get a chance to hash it out. I see Ramon with a couple comments. Poor Sheriff's the future and Doo-Doo Nation. Well, that's a great way to end the show. I'm assuming he's playing well, but he did go to North Carolina, so I assume North Carolina had a good season in the fictional college season, I guess, maybe. All right, let's just say that. In real life, we suck. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good night, and once again, Happy New Year, and thank you for everything you do for the PEL. Good night, guys.